eldest son of King Aegon V and Queen Betha Blackwood was Prince Duncan. Born sometime between the year 220 and 224 AC, it is believed he had the dark hair of his Blackwood mother, with some descriptions of him showing Duncan with purple eyes of old Valyria. Duncan was not traditionally a Targaryen name, with some feeling it, in fact, was quite common. Prince Duncan was named for the mentor and friend of King Aegon V, the former Hedge Knight, then Kingsguard Knight, Sir Duncan the Tall. Thus, those who knew Prince Duncan well would often refer to him as Duncan the Small. When Duncan was first born, Aegon was still a prince, once his father was chosen as king. After the Great Council of 233 AC, Prince Duncan was named the Prince of Dragonstone and heir to the Iron Throne. When it came to matchmaking and finding a wife for the future king, Queen Betha and the king set out to make matches for their children that would strengthen House Targaryen and build connections across the realm. And that is what they did, or at least tried to do. Good matches were made for all three sons of Aegon V, but the king's hopes would crumble and send the realm into chaos. And it would be Aegon's eldest son, Duncan, Prince of Dragonstone and heir to the throne, who would be the first to defy him. Duncan was betrothed to the daughter of Lord Lyonel Baratheon of Storm's End, known in the history books as the Laughing Storm, one of the fiercest warriors of his age, and one of the men that then Prince Aegon had found to defend Sir Duncan the Tall during his trial of 7 at Ashford Meadow in 209 AC. It was a good match, a strong match, and one that would benefit the realm greatly. House Baratheon and House Targaryen had historically had strong ties, with the house being formed by Orys Baratheon, the bastard half-brother of Aegon the Conqueror himself. Thus, renewing the bonds between these close houses was never a bad thing. But Prince Duncan became enamoured of a strange, lovely and mysterious girl who called herself Jenny of Oldstones in 239 AC while travelling in the Riverlands. Though she dwelt half-wild amidst ruins and claimed descent from the long-vanished kings of the First Men of House Mud, the small folk of the surrounding villages mocked such tales, insisting that she was only some half-mad peasant girl, and perhaps even a witch. Other accounts suggest that despite Jenny's eccentricities, she was a beautiful girl, lovely but also strange, with her often being seen wearing flowers in her hair. For a woman of such humble beginnings, she would leave a huge impact on the history of Westeros and the fate of House Targaryen. While it is true that King Aegon had been a friend to the small folk and had practically grown up amongst them, going on to spend much of his reign working for their betterment at great political cost to himself, Aegon was after all king. Through his line was the future of House Targaryen and the fate of Westeros and all its people, the great lords and the small folk alike. Like many kings before him, Aegon's personal feelings on matters such as this were secondary to his duty. To allow the marriage of the heir to the Iron Throne to a commoner of uncertain birth was beyond him. It is said that King Aegon did all he could to have the marriage undone, demanding that Prince Duncan put Jenny aside. But Duncan was in fact his father's son in many ways. He shared his father's stubbornness and refused to set aside the woman he loved, the woman he had chosen. Even when the High Septon, the Grand Maester, and the entirety of the Small Council joined together to insist King Aegon forced his son to choose between the Iron Throne and this wild woman of the woods, Duncan would not relent. Duncan would do something that had never been done in the history of the kings of House Targaryen, and has never been done since. Rather than give up his beloved Jenny, he forswore his claim to the crown, the Iron Throne, in favour of his brother, Aegon's second son Jaehaerys, and abdicated as Prince of Dragonstone. Duncan's abdication only solved half of the issue when it came to his marriage to Jenny. Arguably, there was an even more problematic factor at play that in truth perhaps worried the king much more than his heir marrying a common woman. By marrying Jenny, Prince Duncan had broken the marriage pact with Lyonel Baratheon, and the Lord of Storm's End was rightly wroth. The abdication could not restore the peace that had been broken, nor win back the friendship of Storm's End, as in that regard the damage had already been done. Lord Lyonel Baratheon was known as the Laughing Storm, and famed for his prowess in battle. He was not a man to cross, and not a man easily appeased when his pride was wounded in a manner such as this. Prince Duncan's marriage to a common woman was seen as an insult, not only to the spurned girl, but to Lyonel himself, and the whole of House Baratheon. Thus, a short, bloody rebellion ensued, ending only when Sir Duncan the Tall of the Kingsguard defeated Lord Lyonel in single combat, and King Aegon gave him his solemn word that his youngest daughter, Rhaella, would wed Lord Lyonel's heir. To seal the bargain, and to ensure the betrothal could not once again be broken, Princess Rhaella was sent to Storm's End to serve as Lyonel's cupbearer and companion to his lady wife. Jenny of Oldstones, Lady Jenny as she was called by courtesy, was eventually accepted at court. Jenny was friends with a dwarf woman, a woods witch, whom she believed to be one of the children of the forest. The woman, whom Jenny brought to court with her, prophesied that the prince that was promised would be born from the line of Prince Jaehaerys and Princess Rhaella Targaryen, the children of Prince Jaehaerys. When Jaehaerys heard the prophecy, he arranged the marriage between them. Jenny was beloved by the small folk of the Seven Kingdoms, and the story of her and Prince Duncan would become a favourite song of the singers and young maids alike, rich and poor. She and her prince were forever after known as the Prince and Princess of Dragonflies. Prince Duncan, despite his abdication, would still be an active part of life at court. He once defeated Sir Barristan Selmy in a tourney at Blackhaven in 247 AC, when Barristan was only 10 years old and a squire, participating in the tourney as a mystery knight. Duncan took pity on the small knight and jousted against him when no one else would, giving Barristan the nickname The Bold. Years later, in 253 AC, Duncan was then defeated by Sir Barristan at the winter tourney in King's Landing. The legacy of Prince Duncan the Small and Jenny of Oldstones cannot be understated and can be attributed as one of the prime factors that led to the tragic events that befall House Targaryen over the next 2 generations.